is AZ Hubbard with Save News. We are having Representative Raymond Smith today as our guest. So stay tuned. Hold on. Next will be Raymond Smith and AZ Hubbard. This is AZ again. I am here with Representative Raymond Smith, and today we are talking to him about House Bill 921. This is a bill that affects Eastern North Carolina. And Representative Smith, thank you so much for joining us today at Save News. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Well, thank you so very much, AZ. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure to be speaking with you today. As you well know, you and I have known each other for a lot of years. We go way
Mm-hmm.
back, and I've always known you to be very conscientious and about business. So,
Well, we are. We
yes,
are. And I've always known you to be about business, taking care of the community, being an advocate for the people. And it's fitting that you became our representative for Eastern North Carolina. And you have sponsored this House bill. And I'm telling you, when I read it, I was floored. I said, I wouldn't expect no less than Representative Smith. And I'm so impressed by this bill. And as a small business owner in this area, as a resident in this area, I am so proud that you had the foresight to bring this to the floor. So I'm going to give the floor to you and let you pretty much explain this in detail, and then we'll talk about the process that it goes to get approved.
well, again, thank you so much for this platform to do what we all have responsibility to do, and that's to look after one another. And this bill is my small contribution, my effort to try to do something that really makes a difference in our community and that it helps people most of all. This bill is entitled the Tier 1 Community Reinvestment Act. And basically, what I'm trying to do in this bill is I am trying to look out for the poorest of the poor.
Mm.
In the state of North Carolina, the Department of Commerce has designated a tier system to identify the counties in our state, which there are 100, that have the most economic needs, have the most economically distressed. And 40 of the 100 counties in the state of North Carolina have been identified as tier 1 counties, meaning the poorest of the poor. These counties are the places where organizations like Apple and Google, they're never going to consider coming to Goldsboro. You know,
No.
we're not high on their list of priorities. So they locate in places like Wake County and Mecklenburg County, where they have the various amenities like sports teams and the nightlife and the high rent districts and stuff that and the lights and glamour that we just don't have in this part of the state. However, I'm here today to present something that is just for us.
All right.
Okay. And this bill focuses on tier 1 communities like ours and Wayne County. And of course, I represent Sampson County as well.
Yes.
Both are tier 1 counties as designated by the North Carolina Department of Commerce. And in this bill, we have $100 million,
Mm.
and that $100 million is going to be dedicated solely for tier 1 counties.
That's
Um,
awesome.
thank you so much. The every seminar workshop that I have been to that talks about rural economic development says the very same thing. There's one recurring theme in rural North Carolina. The lifeblood of rural North Carolina is small business. Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, if and buts or maybes. Again, like I said, Google did not consider us, but Save News did. So those are the kinds of things that really make a difference in rural communities and small communities like ours is the privately owned business. This bill, this $100 million will be for rural communities. And one of the most important parts of this, and one of the things that I absolutely demanded in this bill, was that if you have received one of those loans before, you're not eligible for this. This is for the ones who never got a chance to get a loan in the first round.
Exactly. And that was very impressive, Representative Smith, because of the fact that some of the guidelines, I think one guideline was you had to have a certain number of employees, and a lot of small businesses did not qualify based on that
Absolutely.
requirement. And I'm glad that you demanded that that be a part of the tier one community reinvestment bill.
Yes, that was critical. And because, most of the small business owners that I know don't have 50, 60, 70 employees. They
Right.
have, many of them have 10 or less.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an unfair criteria when you talk about state federal tax dollars. We all pay
Exactly,
federal
because we
tax.
all have to pay those taxes.
We all pay those taxes, and we should all be eligible to reap the benefit of those taxes that we pay. So that is one of the very important parts of this bill that I demanded remain in the bill. And don't get me wrong, I had to fight for a lot of stuff that's in this bill, and it's my bill.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure.
so
I'm sure you had to fight for a lot of things, because the criteria you have included for-profit businesses, small businesses, nonprofit small businesses. I mean, you really looked at who you represent in this area in tier one in Eastern North Carolina, and you formulated and crafted that bill to fit the needs of the community. And generally, sometimes people make a blanket bill or, trying to cover everyone, but I really commend you that you really tailored this bill for Eastern North Carolina.
yes, and that was no easy task, because I think a lot of times, as you said so eloquently, they have these blanket bills that, the blanket criteria, which in many cases go to the more, I'll say,
Established and larger businesses.
thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. And these businesses have the infrastructure. They have the staff. They have professional grant writers who do nothing but go out and get these funds before they can ever reach small businesses. And so this effort was very
Yes.
intentional,
Okay.
for that purpose. And also in the bill, it focuses on historically underutilized businesses, and it focuses on the historically marginalized communities in our tier one communities. Uh,
Exactly.
we have, and like in the first section, it speaks specifically to historically underutilized businesses being the ones that qualify for this grant. If you're not a historically underutilized business, this grant is not for you. You know,
Exactly.
so it's very clear in that context. And the organizations that we are using, the Carolina Small Business Fund, the Golden Leaf Foundation, these organizations have a plethora of experience when it comes to the disbursement of these types of funds. They have done it time and time again. They do a very good job with it, and I feel very confident that those individuals, especially given the very explicit criteria, those organizations that qualify will get the opportunity. I'm looking at, we have a lot of nonprofits here in our
Yes.
community.
Mm-hmm.
We have historically marginalized business nonprofits. For instance, you have these high school alumni associations. You've got
Yes.
the Norwayne alumni. You've got the Carver alumni down in the Mount Olive area. You have the Central Eastern Wayne Alumni Association. You have the Dillard Goldsboro Alumni Association. These organizations have been for years providing scholarships and doing wonderful things in our community. But when it comes to these funds, they've never been really in a position to receive these funds because they never reached them at that level. You have the fraternities and sororities, the members of the Divine Nine. All of these are 501c3 organizations, the Deltas, the Qs, the Kappas, the Alphas, the AKAs. These people, these organizations, they do work in this community that is that just goes unsung. People just
Yes.
don't know how much work they're actually doing in this community. These funds will, these organizations will be eligible for these funds. And just to list some of the eligible items, if you have a facility like many of these organizations do, you can use these funds to renovate and repair existing facilities. You can expand any current programs that you currently have. Maybe you have a tutorial program or something of that nature and that you like to expand it. As we all know, we have education deficit that's
Yes.
directly related to COVID, and many of the children in the historically marginalized communities are not did not receive a full education during COVID. You know, everybody cannot learn online. I'll be the first to tell you, I am not a good online learner.
Me
I'm
either. Me
I'm face to
either.
face.
Yes, I am hands on. I need to ask my instructor face to face. That's the
Yes,
best. That's the way I learn. And
absolutely,
like you said, there are a lot of people that don't learn well online. And so the unfortunately the children has suffered through this. And hopefully, like we were saying, your grant, your bill that you have presented, it will at least assist those organizations, those nonprofit organizations that specialize in that area, to reach out and hopefully pull back in and maybe hopefully be able to make some corrections because they're financially funded now. They
absolutely.
will be financially funded.
Absolutely. Yeah, the remediation that is needed in order for us to catch up on that learning loss is immeasurable. There's not enough money to catch up, but this is in some small way a way to try to help bridge that divide because we still have a broadband desert in some of our areas. Everybody does not have broadband.
That's true. And then I travel to some counties to do lives and do videos and everything. My signal is gone. It's
Right.
like I'm in a dead zone. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. I can
Yes.
record it and hopefully, later post it.
Right.
But unfortunately, those children that's in those areas just suffered because they didn't have access to the internet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, these tutorial programs, youth mentorship programs, minority uplift initiatives, small business incubation, health clinics. I mean, the list goes on and on. All of these and more. And of course, I want people to really read the bill because I think that's something that we get a summary of a lot of different things, and we don't necessarily dive deep into a lot of stuff and see where we fit. Because if we read the summary, especially with some of the bills that come out of the General Assembly, the title can throw you off.
Exactly.
The
And
title
so I'm
doesn't necessarily say what's in the bill sometimes.
exactly. So for those that's watching now, I need you to go to the General Assembly website. You can Google it. I know you know how. And type in H921, and that will pull up the bill and it will break it all the way down. That's where I pulled it up at and got all the information I need. I'm excited. I'm waiting for it to get on the floor and get passed. I'm going to say all our viewers, I need you for you to contact your North Carolina representatives. If you're in Eastern Goldsboro, Eastern North Carolina, that's going to be John Bell and Jim Perry. And if you're not in the Eastern North Carolina area, we want you to contact your district representative in North Carolina to tell them, we want you to support this bill. So, Representative Smith, could you elaborate some more on where is it at in the process and what the process is for our viewers?
Well, the process is rather complex. I must say it is truly it's a maze on how to get a bill from bill drafting to the floor for a vote. Basically, where this bill is right now, the bill has been filed. It has sponsors, as you can see, myself and Representative James Gailliard out of Nash County, Rocky Mount area, who happens to be my seatmate. And I'm gonna give a shout out to my seatmate, is the
Yes.
pastor of Word Tabernacle, which is a mega church in the Rocky Mount area. So if you ever get a chance to listen to him online, he's a dynamic man of God. And so he and I sponsored this bill together, but I also have a number of co-sponsors as well. So the bill is a popular bill in that regard.
Great.
But where it is right now is it is being considered in the various committees. The bill will go to rules, and rules will then determine whether or not the bill sees the light of day. Unfortunately, what happens is the rules committee is the final destination for every bill. The rules committee will either say yay or nay that it will see the light of day. And so I'm encouraging right now, it's an appropriations, and appropriations is where my bill begins. Okay. The Appropriations Committee, if you look online for the General Assembly, you can see the chairs and the members of the Appropriations Committee. Um, I encourage you to send them an email. All of us have emails, okay, and phone numbers. I encourage you to
Exactly.
call them and send them an email, call their office, and say, "Hey, members of the Appropriations Committee, this House Bill 921 is something that we really like, and we want you guys to pass it, and so that it will go to rules and hopefully reach the floor." So it is certainly a process. Okay, and the way these committees are set up, to be honest with you, um, the committees are set up of both Democrats and Republicans. However, in these committees, the dynamics are whoever the majority party is will have the final say on whether this bill sees the light of day or not. If they like the bill, they'll support it. If they don't like the bill, they'll kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's where the public comes in. It's critical that we reach out to those members on the Appropriations Committee and say, "Hey, we like this bill, and would you please give it consideration and pass it so that it can reach the floor for a vote." I believe that this bill reaches the floor for a vote. If it goes through rules and it reaches the floor, I believe that this bill will pass unanimously, because this is not a bill about race. This is
Mm-hmm.
not a bill about political parties. Tier one counties are all over the state of North Carolina. Um, many of our tier one counties are in the western part of our state, up in the mountains.
Exactly. We
Very,
have.
very, very, very destitute communities up in those areas. We have some tier one communities in the central part of our state. Everybody thinks of Charlotte and Greensboro, but there are some counties surrounding Charlotte and
Mm-hmm.
Greensboro that are tier one counties. They don't benefit the way that they do. And of course, here in Eastern North Carolina, we have more than our share of tier one counties. So this is a
Unfortunately,
statewide effort. So
it
I
is.
really feel very positive about it being a positive thing that everyone can wrap their minds around.
Exactly. And I'm going to drop in right here
Hmm.
the list of the Appropriations Committee, and you'll be able to see that on the screen, everyone, right now. And also at the end in the credits, I'll have it there also. You will also be able to um, contact them, or if you need a list, if it goes too fast, then you can always um, email us at contact@savenews.com, and we'll send you the list. But again, we want to encourage you, regardless of what part of the state that you live in, to contact your district representative and ask them to support this bill, because this is a tier one bill. And even though, we're in Eastern North Carolina and we're hoping, but like Representative Smith said, tier one counties are all across the state, and it affects the entire state. And we want to make sure that everyone is represented in the state. Contact your representatives. Okay, Representative Smith, Would you like to elaborate on anything else regarding this bill that I'm neglected to ask you?
No, you've not. You've done a thorough job. I just want to add this one last thing. I did receive notification that here in Wayne County, our county commissioners are considering a resolution in support of this bill, which would be
Wonderful.
tremendous and in way of support. And again, if you live in Sampson County or Greene County, any of the other tier 1 counties here in the state, encourage your county commissioners to come out in support of the bill in the form of a resolution. These things matter. Uh,
Yes.
Everywhere you get support from, it matters when it comes to determining whether or not the you will get that type of support in the General Assembly. So that being said, thank you so much, Az. You've been tremendous as always, and thank you for this platform, this opportunity to see you again, which I don't get to do often, and but also to have a very pertinent conversation about the community that you and I both love.
Yes. And thank you again for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy in doing legislative things, but we are so proud of you, Representative Smith, and we're proud that you thought of us as a community, the tier 1, your the area that you cover, that you formulated a bill that tailors to not just us, but all of tier 1 in North Carolina.
Yes,
And we thoroughly support you. And thank you so much again for spending this time with us. All
yes.
right. Thank you. And
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Good
Bye
night.